My name is Michael Young, and I'm creative director on Madden.
So what are you guys showing here today about Madden 18?
Well, the thing I was showing today was Longshot, our first story mode in the franchise's 29-year history.
Let's talk about it. I had a chance to play all the way through it today, and I really enjoyed it. One thing you guys introduced in it was a whole new kind of gameplay style. There was a point where you were able to control the ball in midair with the left stick. Can you talk about how you guys viewed gameplay from a completely new way in Madden in this mode?
Yeah, so we started with story being king, and we wrote the initial draft as like a movie. And then we went back and marked out all the places we thought we could make playable, which is a different format than maybe the normal sports game story mode, where it's kind of a career mode with story scenes surrounding the games and the practices. We just wrote a story and then figured out, well, how do we make every scene playable, whether it's branching dialogue or like the thing you mentioned. There's a very few moments where we think we want to show Devin has this unbelievable ability to place the ball where he wants it to. So we made a mini game essentially out of steering the ball, and probably took inspiration from, some shooters where you can like steer bullets, and not uber realistic, but we did tune it in a way that we feel like it in limited form. It's really cool and kind of compelling.
I think you guys drew a lot of inspiration from a whole different range of games for this. One thing that I thought was really interesting and made me want to play the game again was that there's a set of decision trees that exist in it. Can you talk about what games you looked at or what franchises may have inspired you for how the plot twists kind of go in this?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up a huge sports gamer. I've worked with EA Sports since 1999. I worked on all the NBA streets, and I've worked on Madden since '09, but I've been playing other games the whole time. And I'd say most of my inspirations for this were coming from, this quality of storytelling in Last of Us, and how Naughty Dog will take like a story moment and make it playable, and you might never see that mechanic ever again, but it made that scene more enjoyable. The Telltale games where, the branching dialogue choices feel like there's high pressure and you're always choosing between maybe the lesser of two evils. There's no simple choice. It's not just about the character's personality, but something feels like it's at stake. I'd say those, and games like Life is Strange, where you feel like there's powerful stories that are emotional, that you can connect to the characters. Even if you're not a teenage girl at a boarding school, emotionally you can connect to the character and kind of relate to their experiences and kind of vicariously live through them. And that's what we went for with Devin Wade, Longshot.
One thing about the decisions I thought was kind of interesting, the gameplay mechanic, there's a timer. Is there a difference in how the game views someone who acts quickly to decide versus taking to the very last second?
No, the timers were really about adding that sense of, in real life, you don't get to sit there forever. And there's a cinematic quality to Longshot where, you want it to feel like a movie you're changing and interacting with. But if you just sit there for 20, 30, 40 seconds waiting for you to choose, it takes the pressure away. It makes, I think, the choices mean less because you thought out every possible outcome. And it really kind of destroys the cinematic quality of it.
And like I said, the game feels very replayable because I got drafted fourth to last by the Cleveland Browns, right? And I feel like people want to strive to go higher in rank. What mechanic leads to where you get drafted, or if your friend gets drafted?
Well, I think the core mechanic is that this is a story about you and your friend. And hopefully you care about both characters to the point where you're always trying to balance, how do we both get drafted to the NFL? This isn't a story where no matter what you do, Devin Wade could be like the first overall pick in the NFL draft. This is a guy who walked away from college football, hasn't played in 3 years. We try to keep the story within the realm of reality, like a Rudy. Rudy wasn't going to ever start for Notre Dame. Just him getting on the field was a miracle alone. So within our story, Devin getting drafted late in the draft is kind of the high upside. But if you can get both of these guys who really aren't on anybody's radar into the NFL, that's the pinnacle. So hopefully we made you care about the characters, and it's been really fun as actually people are saying they want to replay it and see what things they did kind of change the story. And I will tell you that we've gone through and balanced the whole game. So decisions, what you do on the field, all of them weigh into the final draft grades of these characters.
It's funny because my first playthrough today, I played through and I was pretty much a nice guy. I wanted to be good to everyone except for one time where I don't want to spoil anything. I had to do something for someone and I chose not to. But besides that, I was the nice guy. The next time I will play, I want to be like the bad guy this time.
Yeah, I think what's cool is people are really excited by the kind of immediate payoff of their choices too. So I think the scenes branch instantly. A lot of games, I think you make a choice and then you kind of hear the character speak and then the scene ends, it fades out to black. But now you're seeing like scenes branch multiple times, and I think there is a lot of joy to seeing like what would have happened, even if it's a small impact thing or you think it might have a big impact on the story. I think people are enjoying like the payoffs even in the moment.
I think one thing that was cool, like I said, I completed it today. You get their card and you can play with them in Ultimate Team, right?
Yeah, and you can take them into connected franchise mode.
So that's even that's what I think is amazing with this mode is it not only it enhances two other modes, but it's also itself replayable. You guys are adding a huge component to a game. I don't think you've done this in years, right?
There's never been anything like this in Madden. This is our first story mode, and ultimately it's way different than I think any previous sports story mode, which I love sports story modes, but I think this one's format is completely different. It was intended to be kind of campaign mode length, where people can actually enjoy it, get an outcome, feel emotional about the characters, and hopefully they do want to continue the story in something like Ultimate Team or career mode, where now that you care about these characters, you can take them in, take Devin or Colt, put them on your favorite team, and see how that plays out. Give you more chance to play like some of the like experiences and go deeper inside the Longshot Ultimate Team Chronicles. So unlocking your favorite characters like Devin and Colt, or coming across like a Chad Ochocinco and having him available to your Ultimate Team squad. I think some of that rewards kind of extend and make our mode even better, but I know there's a ton of awesome new features in Ultimate Team itself.
It's funny because the way that you end it, not really spoiling anything, but the way that the game kind of ends, it lends to people caring about the character and wanting them on their team. And at some point you may ask the player, like, what's your favorite team? And it kind of influences the decision. But I think that lends itself to people wanting to do a franchise with this player and actually care. And I think that's different than a lot of games where you've offered to create a player feature for decades. You don't have that feeling that you would with these characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in your head. So I grew up, playing the NHL 94s and the Maddens and the Tecmo Bowls, and me and my co-writer of this story, we would write all these fake stories and create magazines about all these characters that we made up. And I think now we've offered this kind of deep backstory. It's rich, it feels like a movie. So it's kind of did this heavy lifting for you. So now you know everything about this person. You care about them as people and as football players, and you want to see where it goes. So yeah, I think you'll be so much more emotionally connected to Devin or Colt in something like Connected Franchise.
So I think this is a successful mode that you've created. Next year, when you're making this next season, are we going to have a different character that we're doing this with?
Well, I appreciate you saying it's successful. I think my dream is that we get to make a season 2. It's going to really depend on the audience wanting them back, but from early play test, the part that definitely tests the best is people care about Devin and Colt. So to me, my passion as a storyteller would be to continue their story versus start, with a new Longshot.